All right.
Sure.
What's up, gamers? I'm gonna be here with Zach today, and we will
Going
be,
on?
yeah, and we will be analyzing two sealed pools. Then we'll be showing off a deck that we chose with our sealed pools, and then in a later video, we're gonna be showing off a match between them. So we're gonna start off with mine here, and then one of the first things I'm looking at is gonna be the equipment that I pulled. Zach, do you see pretty well what we got going on?
Yeah, we got Cofrost, Honing Hood, we've got Ragamuffin, Mark. Is that two marks?
Yeah, two Mark of Lightning,
Nice.
unfortunately.
All right.
Yeah, so pretty simple
Oh,
here.
and Suede Hide. So
Yeah,
yeah,
I
pretty
was gonna
good, pretty
say,
good.
uh, we see Suede Hides. I don't know if you agree with me on this one, but you think like, man, this is already pretty good for Riot. It's already kind of like leaning me towards it.
Yeah, I mean, especially in combination with Mark, I do think Honing, Coat, and Mark is a pretty solid Lexi pull as well.
Yep.
Although I think Lexi benefits more from Into the Blue over Coat in a lot of matchups,
Yeah.
just depending on the pull, but just with the limitations, usually you're wanting 2 to 3 resources to be able to load and shoot that arrow off. And it doesn't always work out that way, especially when you're trying to run the better arrows like Chilled Ice Fang or anything like that. So definitely a Briar plus on equipment, I think.
Yep. Yeah. Right off the bat, we got like 2.5. I'm gonna count Ragamuffin's hat as a half an equipment because it doesn't really seem that much play. Three
Right.
for Lexi, and then like only one. Two, I guess. Again, 1.5 if we count for Oldhim. So that's like kind of like the first impression that we get just from the equipment.
For sure.
Okay. And then going off over here, we got some pretty interesting rare cards. For Briar, we got a Rites of Lightning and an Explosive Growth. They're both kind of like have different strategies based on the things that we want to
Okay.
fuse, but
Is
um,
that a red rights?
nah, it's a yellow rights and
Okay.
blue
Yeah.
explosive growth. So it's
Yeah.
I think rights is just good, just like a three go again. Pair it with any other non-attack action, and then we got like a swing with the weapon as well. So
For sure. Yeah,
we
getting go again on your attacks is pretty big for the Briar strategy whenever you can, just for that finish with the Rosetta Thorn is so strong.
yes, super strong. And actually, I should have mentioned this first. We got the two Majestic we got from this pool are going to be Frostlock and Channel Lake Frigid, was also kind of like leans us into Lexi.
Okay. Yep. Yep. Yeah.
Uh,
Frostlock can be devastating to Briars, just absolutely turning off the zero pitch and play.
yep. Other than that, we don't seem to have anything. We had a red Overflex. We have, uh, we have some one, two, three, two red Chilling Ice Veins, which are great for disruption.
Okay.
But other than that, we don't have any. Three Bramble Sparks. We should make a note of that. Those are kind of like one of the power cards for Briar.
Yep.
And
For sure.
let's see here. What do you think are like general power cards for some of the classes? Actually, let's go because I know I have
Mm,
my assessment for mostly Lexi and Briar, but like Oldhim, I'm not really sure.
For
Um,
sure. Well, I think Oldham really is going to be one of two things. So you want to make sure, right, regardless of what hero you're picking, that your element pool supports fusing it.
right.
If that's what your strategy is going to lean into. I know Oldham can kind of get away with just straight up fatiguing,
Hmm.
and you don't necessarily need to worry about fusion as much in those pulls. But I would say probably stronger pulls for Oldham are going to be Thump and Terra Sunder.
Hmm.
Card card advantage is going to be huge, especially in sealed where your options are already limited and you're kind of, sometimes having to force a little bit of suboptimal card choices into your build, regardless of what direction you go. Um, you already mentioned this, but I think Briar for sure. Bramble Spark is just a huge plus, especially in red. I mean, it's basically 0 for 4, but with the lack of arcane prevention minus the uh, you know very limited interaction of Oldham's defense reaction ability, it's a free damage +3 to your next attack. Um,
Yep.
I think Rights is also another excellent choice. Getting go again on your attacks isn't always easy. Um, The inspired lightning could be really good as well.
Yeah,
If you are
smart one.
going to lean into a lightning build, that's definitely free damage that can pair really well with stuff like flash or anything else that is going to give you an extra action point or go again to keep going. Ball lightning's really good as well.
Yep.
I think ball lightning is a solid pick for both Lexi and Briar, especially if you pull Mark of Lightning. That combo seems to be pretty well known and definitely synergizes well. You just had it there. We still got it visible. I think Weave Lightning is another really good pick
Yep.
for maintaining Go Again.
Got a little bit
Again,
of
the
with the
whole.
weave of everything actually, so you can see here.
Yeah, yeah. There you go.
We're weaving every element.
Right. I mean, all of the zero non-attack actions are super strong
Yep.
in this set. I believe overall, just between the pumps of stuff like Weave Earth and Bramble Spark, and then also just the utility of Weave Ice and Weave Lightning are really good. Um, but not to get too far off track, I think for Lexi, your better pulls are going to be the red arrows and
Hmm.
specifically the Chile Ice Vein you've got right
Yeah, I
there.
got two of these.
And I'd say probably Frazzle and Buzzbolt right
Yep.
behind that.
Yep. Only got one red frazzle and then a yellow frazzle and then a yellow bust bolt. So, it's damage for
Yeah,
sure.
for sure.
And
Yeah, and the nice thing is, I mean, they're still going to hit for four, which
yep.
which is commendable. 1 for 4 is not something we're as used to up until this set. It's kind of the golden standard. I think deck building was shooting for,
Yep.
and this kind of pushes it to like a 1 for 5 kind of availability
Yep.
at the cost of defense. So that's another thing to kind of watch out for as far as staples go. I think we could also include class cards like generic Runeblade, generic
Oh, yes.
Guardian, and Ranger cards in there as good standards, just because you're getting your block 3 in. And I mean, Sinjin Steelblade is a free arcane.
Yep.
Sigil of Suffering, arguably
The
the
best
best
defense reaction and
card
the
for.
pool. Yeah, also for
Yeah,
Briar, like you can just like also the opponent just doesn't think about it too much. They are one life and you're just like sigil suffering. That's happened a few times in the world premiere.
for sure. Um, but yeah, what
Yep.
about your thoughts on it?
Yep. Yeah. No, I think you hit really pretty much everything that I wanted to say. On all that. For the power cards, I just wanted to touch on a little bit more about some of the more specifics for at least for Lexi. I think you want those lightning attacks are going to be really good for her. So if you have a couple of Heaven's Claws and Chalk Strikers, you put that in Arsenal, you flip it, that has go again, and then you shoot with the arrow for a blue, you get to attack twice with some pretty nasty attacks. So seeing those or a few of those for Lexi, she'll love to see that. I mean, and you mentioned it earlier as well. We got one ball lightning here. I think both heroes are gonna love ball lightning. Both the lightning heroes here. Um, and then like for Briar as well, you have a lot of attacks going on with her regular suite. So getting some extra non-attacks, which we do have here with her elemental pools, are going to do pretty well. So we have two actually Weave Earths here, one red and one blue. Earth Lord Surge is a little expensive, so you might not see it. Uh, I might put it in, but still not sure about it. And then we got So Tomorrow. And then over here, we actually, like I said, two Weave Lightnings as well. So that's and one Blue Flash, which is a little difficult to get off, but Briar does have those two attack cards. And then we got two
Right.
Electrifies as well. So already looking at all that just, easily makes me, want to lean into Briar is that and yeah, and then three Invigorates. Like seeing all these non-attack actions with some other big attacks makes it easy for me to think like non-attack, non-attack, big attack for two,
Right,
and then
for
swing
sure.
with sword. That's kind of like the standard you kind of want to go to. And then looking at the ice, I feel like ice is really difficult, at least to assess. For
Hmm.
Lexi as well, you kind of want non-attack ice because you want to like flip it, then play it so that you can get out our arsenal.
Yep.
So then you actually shoot with your arrow. So looking at that, we do have a few good ones here. We got a few Winter's Bite to really mess up our opponent's full card hands, even if they don't want to block our arrows that might not have an on-hit effect because we're blocking on our turn. We got Chill to the Bone, Polar Blast, and then Icy Encounter actually is one of my favorite cards for its effect. Just a simple if you're blocking a lot, attacking with Icy Encounter can just like still get some cards out of your opponent's hand or like kind of mess them up with their resource.
Yeah, definitely.
Um,
Um,
yeah,
Kind of touching on that too. What are your counts on ice, earth, and lightning cards?
right. We got 10 Ice, 10 Lightning, 8 Earth.
Oh, okay.
Yep, so it's pretty even across the board,
Yeah, for
honestly.
sure.
You kind of want if you're gonna and as you can see here, I also kind of like put them in a certain way here, where you can see like the Earth fuse versus the Ice fuse of each class, and we're
Mhm.
also pretty even on all that. Like this is like you can see the stack of Earth fuse for Briar and Lightning fuse for Briar. This is Lightning fuse for Lexi, Ice, and then like Earth Ice over here. So I'm
Gotcha.
probably thinking already about that. I'm probably gonna go dual element on any of the classes. But
Right.
I'm probably gonna be between Lexi and Briar right now, more than Oldhim, because like I said, like there's no. And then I did, and as we are talking about Oldhim a little bit more, you want to be looking at those like blue, ice, and earth cards, and we only really got like two ice blues, and then one, two, three earth blues. So feels like it might need. Oh, then I guess Channel Lake for just another ice blue, but uh, the
Yeah.
resource curve seems to be a little. Could be a little bit of a trouble with these big attacks.
What would you think would be overall kind of the blue ratio you're looking for when going that Oldham route?
Hmm.
Because I know in general you're probably running more than 30 because
Yep.
your goal is going to be to block and fatigue.
Yep.
But to afford those clapback turns, you definitely need blues for that. So,
hmm
in your experience, what would you say you're probably looking to average out there?
I think the most important section for blues is going to be the earth blues because that's the one that you can, if you play the defense reactions properly of Oldhim, you can block that extra arcane damage if Briar is trying to come at you with the weapon. And having, only two earth blues or three here just doesn't feel strong enough to do that. You can overpitch, but then like you're kind of like messing yourself up and then taking the physical damage instead, and like you
Right.
making the balance there. And then I like a lot the healing cards, and which is rejuvenate. I only got one yellow one this
Hmm.
time
Hmm.
around, kind of that kind of offsets. I know you're the one that mentioned it. You kind of like opened my eyes on rejuvenate, honestly. Uh, and that's the one that kind of like makes me think, hey, I can like sustain a bit by also just healing up because I can't block this arcane damage.
For sure.
Then open Heart of Ice, so.
Yeah, I think Rejuvenate's a good non-attack option that
hmm
just like you said brings that sustainability, and then also, um, especially for Briar, a little less for Lexi. I think Invigorate's a really great option too. Just another zero cost go again there, but hands get a little bit tighter with Lexi. I think because your goal is more or less to fuse, but also to end with a card in arsenal every time for that Lexi ability as well. And Briar doesn't necessarily need that card in arsenal to go back into a full grip and have some lethal damage behind it.
For sure. For sure. Yep. That covers up a lot, not only the build, but also like the basis of what you're kind of looking for in the build. So that's really good that we touched up on that. Um,
Yeah, for sure.
so that kind of does it with my pool. We're just gonna like move it over to you as I set it up.
All right, sounds good, man. We'll see you guys in a little bit.
Okay. And we're back, and we have Zach's pool here, and we're gonna talk about this one now and see where we're gonna go with it, or we're thinking about
All
going with
right.
it. What do you got?
Yeah, for sure. So, kind of right out the gate, we did get all unique equipment, which is cool when it happens. Deep Blue is definitely a great piece for whichever direction we want to go in. Unfortunately, no Suede Hides for Briar,
hmm
but we've got the Buckler for Oldham. Unfortunately, no Mark for Lexi or Briar. But we do have Coda Frost, Runaways, and Ragamuffin Hat, along with Cracker Jacks. I think overall, if I was just looking at equipment first, I'd probably be leaning either Lexi or Oldham.
hmm
Um, just kind of based on you get the full Lexi loadout with the option of Coda Frost Deep Blue, and then you also get the Oldham loadout with Coda Frost Deep Blue, and the Buckler. both can use Cracker Jack, so it's pretty solid between the two of them. Briar, unfortunately, is really just using Cracker Jacks and Deep Blue there, so um, not not too great, but definitely better than nothing. As far as the breakdown on the element side here, we've got two Majestics. We have Blizzard for Ice, and then we've got Channel Mount Heroic for Earth. We've
Nice.
got nine ice, 10 lightning, and 8 earth cards. So relatively evenly split. They've also got a pretty solid breakdown between red, yellow, and blue pitch across the board, which I like to see. And then as far as generic elemental fusion cards, we're kind of leaning more into ice, getting Entwine Ice in all 3 colors. Um, got some generics. Well, elemental generics. 2 invigorates, 2 blue rejuvenates. Pretty okay. I think the red invigorate's really good. Rejuvenate
Yeah.
is not the best, especially in blue, but if we do go the Oldham route, it could just add to the blue resource curve pretty nicely.
Yep, for sure.
Um, Going on to the right side here, I've got everything split out between our hero classes. You notice pretty right away we've got 2 red thumbs, which is excellent for Oldham. We have an okay balance, especially when combined with Earth and Ice over here. We've got enough blues where we could definitely go that route. Um, didn't have any crazy Majestics on the Guardian side or any of the other 2 classes for that matter. Um, but I'd say notably, we do still have red mulch here. Still got glacial footsteps in red. So you've definitely got some powerhouse attacks to go along with that fatigue style setup.
Yep.
And then moving over to our rune blade side, um, having 3 bramble sparks as well, similar to
Hmm.
your pool. We've got 1 red, 2 yellow.
It's a little better than mine.
Uh, yeah. We've also got a red sigil of suffering, which is
Oh
always nice
man.
to have.
Yep.
We're kind of about stealing some wins with that for sure. Singeing Steelblade in red's great. But it's kind of lackluster other than that.
Yeah, see a lot of
We've
blues.
got, yeah, we've definitely got a lot of blues here, being a little over a third of our pool there. We do have a yellow Stir the Wildwood, um, but our red attacks are just Vela Flash, which is
Hmm.
not terrible, but
No.
definitely not what you want to see overall. I think Rights to Lightning would definitely be better here, or even red Stir the Wildwood. Um, then moving over to Lexi, Ranger side, 2 blue Overflex feels bad. Overflex is, I think, great as a 1 or 2 of in your build, but it's really only worth it for that yellow or red Overflex, I think.
Hmm.
The blues could go in there potentially if we need the help on the resource, but I don't think it would. That would be the case. We do have a decent amount of reds, including a red Chili and Ice Vein.
Love it.
First time I've actually got a red snapshot in a sealed pool. I think that's really the only color I would run this in, at least just in sealed, because of the 0 for 4 cost. We've also got Flake Out in red, so I think honestly, just overall, I believe it's 17, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10,
8.
17 or 18
Yeah,
full
if
with
you with
the
those.
overflexes, yeah. Um, the pretty strong Lexi pull for sure. What are after kind of running through all the breakdowns and kind of high level statistics there? What are your first impressions after all that?
Yeah, I think I think what you said especially. So I can't kind of see the lightning cards. I'd like to look at a little bit more on those. But like the Briar Pro, like I said, like that being all pretty much blue, it's kind of like a bit of a deterrent because I feel like it'd be too scrappy. And like you'd kind of be focusing on
For
the
sure.
arcane damage a little too much. Ball lightning helps a lot, obviously, which is great.
Red, yeah, red ball lightning, red electrify, red shock striker.
Oof.
Got two of those.
Yeah,
Got a yellow heaven's claw,
it's not
yellow
bad.
lightning surge, yellow electrify, blue shock striker,
Hmm.
blue heaven's claws, and blue lightning press.
Yeah, blue lightning pistol. Nah, it's not that impressive. But one of the things that I really saw, just that was yeah, those are pretty good. I feel like lightning, like I said in my section, was just that all the cards just seem generally just baseline good. They're more baseline cards. And
Mhm.
that's kind of what you want to look for, I think, in sealed. You just want to look like the good cards, and the more good cards you have, obviously, the better chance you kind of have. Um,
For
but
sure.
one of the combos that really just like caught my eye right at the beginning was that you have three or two thumps, right, and then
Yep, we've
two
got
red thumps,
two red
and you
thumbs,
have Cracker
blue and golden.
Jacks, and that is
Yep,
just the combo for Oldhim. Um,
right.
so that's just going to be pretty devastating, no matter what. So just seeing that powerhouse move is kind of like leans me a little bit towards Oldhim, but even though I
Mhm.
gotta just look at, I see quite a few, three Earth Blues, I think, and then one, two, three, four, three Ice Blues. Kind of like a little bit low.
Yeah, it's so it's three ice blues, three earth blues. We've also got one of the elemental ice cards in blue, and then we have four guardian blues, and then
Mm-hmm.
we have the two blue rejuvenates as well.
Mm.
So I think throwing all of them in there, you could definitely get there.
Oh yeah.
And we've also got the mulch and glacial footsteps as
Ooh.
some powerhouse attacks there in red. Um, have a red entangle as well, being our
Mhm.
only other red attack. But I'm honestly, based off of just the quick rundown, I'd say this would be one of those pulls you're probably not running Briar.
Yep, I agree.
I think even though we've got, clutch pieces like Sigil of Suffering and Bramble Spark, it's just not enough to put it over the top, even with how good our lightning pull is.
Hmm.
Red Ball Lightning, Electrify are excellent, but it's not going to be enough damage, I think, to get you there, especially if you're racing a Briar who had a better pull and got those Rise of Lightning or really any other arcane damage. I think you lose that race. So
Yeah,
kind
also
of
missing
taking
some.
Briar out of the situation.
Yeah, I think it's also missing a few of the extra non-attacks that you might want to see with Briar. Like I feel like
For
it's
sure.
pretty
Yep.
low on that in both of the other, not only in the main pool, but in the two other elements.
Yeah, I think overall I could safely say I'm probably looking between Lexi and Oldham here.
Hmm.
I think at least at first glance I'm probably leaning towards Oldham. Only because the powerhouse and we actually have the blues to back it.
Yep.
Lexi tends to even though this is what I would say this is actually a good Lexi pull. It's missing some of the red or yellow buzzbolt and frazzle. Uh, that would kind of put it over the top for me, I think, and that and also just looking over to our lightning pool. Um, I think Lexi kind of benefits more from the attacks.
Yep.
And Lightning, flipping them up, giving it a go again, playing the attack, and then loading and playing an arrow. Um, but we are kind of heavy on non-attacks there too, which can still make it work. But um, yeah, I'm kind of thinking overall, probably swapping over to Oldham here,
Sweet.
just loosely based off of our blue ratio and some of the combos we've got. Um, any final comments, final thoughts on that?
No, I think you just kind of hit it like those two are going to be. Also, I really want to see Channel Mount Heroic be on the field. Just like a personal thing.
Yeah,
So if it's not going in Briar or going in Alden, it's going to be awesome. And I think you can just put them some simple pressure and then like defend pretty effectively
yeah,
overall.
for sure.
And yeah, also Deep Blue is amazing, and you got a buckler, so buckler's kind of nice.
Yeah, got
Yeah,
that extra point of defense.
yeah. That's it's Iron Rod. It works. When it works, it works.
Right.
All right.
Yeah, they threw Iron Rot in the constructed Blitz deck, so
That's also true. They
good for
did do that.
something.
So that is good. All right. So that yeah, that seems good. So we're gonna build our decks and then we'll come back.
All right. See you guys.
All right. After much deliberation, this is what I ended up for the deck build. I chose Lexi. We got some really good equipment pieces, as I mentioned earlier. Honing Hood's going to be great. Coat of Frost, like probably the weakest one, but given a Frostbite on key turns, might be able to stop my opponent from doing some nasty stuff. Marker Lightning to really get those on damage effects that we have on the board here, and really just prioritizing again the ice non-attacks are going to be, and then your lightning attacks are going to be what you kind of want to be looking to. So we got, I think, 6 here ice non-attacks. So we flip this over, give him frostbite, play him, put an arrow, shoot it up, and then we have not a lot of lightning attacks, but enough other good stuff like 2 electrifies, a weave lightning, and yeah, ball lightning that are still going to be really good even if they're not in arsenal. So it's still going to be like buffs or extra effects that I can try and push out. I do want to make a note. I do have Channel Lake Frigid here, and I'm actually going to be like, it's going to be more of a sideboard card instead of a card that comes in every time. So against Oldhim, I'm not going to be bringing it in. I'll bring it in against Briars or Lexi if I were going long for this kind of tournament. Um, Sorry, give me a second. What's on the door? I'll just ask Sean to cut that middle piece there. It's gonna look awkward, but it's fine. Or actually, I was like finishing it up with the Channel Lake Fridge. I'll just end it there. Uh, oh no, no, no. I'll ask him to cut it. And then, um, yeah. And then when I was looking through the cards, I noticed that I literally only have 1 blue arrow. So I think my arrow damage is going to be really good, especially with the amount of buffs that I can kind of stack on the arrows. So I kind of try and finish it off with a big dominate arrow, or at least that's going to be the plan. All right.
All right, guys. After looking through, I do want to touch on why I made this choice before we dive into the actual build itself. I did end up with Oldhim. As I was taking a look through what I've got for Lexi, though, it was a good breakdown of red, yellow, and blue arrows, but the biggest red flag for me was that my lightning options were very limited. So in total, I've actually got 6 lightning arrow options, and 3 of those are blue on top of the overflexes both being blue as well. Just did not add up to be a good enough damage split if I was going to go half ice, half lightning, which you tend to kind of have to do with most of the successful Lexi sealed builds. So kind of going into the Oldhim build now, we do have the option between Deep Blue and Coat of Frost. I think in most cases, at least for Oldhim, you're probably going to run Coat of Frost. You're fatiguing, slowing down the enemy, but there are some edge cases where Deep Blue is, I mean, it's still great for all 3 heroes. Runaway is really only going to be used against Briar, but you still bring it in. And then Cracker Jacks is just busted with all of your big attacks like Thump. As far as the breakdown of blues go, I did end up with 12 blues, 36 cards total. The 36 card, kind of as a sideboard card here, is going to be Summerwood Shelter. Really don't need this, I think, against Briar, but we'll side that in for the mirror against another Oldhim or against Lexi. And then everything else is pretty much a solid split on red and yellow attacks and non-attacks. We've got our Guardian, Elemental Guardian, red attacks split pretty evenly down to red, yellow, and then blue is just kind of our blob resource pitch as we go to fatigue. But I think it's a pretty solid split for Earth and Ice Fusion as we need it. We have enough of the auras like Strength Sequoia to really get that comeback on a big thump turn or any other kind of comeback attack after you've been blocking for a turn or two. We are running the buckler as well, of course. And yeah, I think it's going to be a pretty solid fatigue strat build. We're not running anything too crazy. We're not, getting close to the 40 or above cards, but I think that kind of extra 5 to 6 card wiggle room really goes a long way, especially when decks like Lexi and Briar want to run as efficiently as possible and close to 30 exact if they can. But yeah, with that out of the way, we're going to go ahead and get set up, and we'll see you guys back in a minute for the match.